hello, and welcome to episode 56 of Cutscene Convos. We've got an absolutely stacked week to go over. Starting off with a character profile on the Council of Kangs. We'll be covering Bad Batch episode 10 before we move into our Quantumainia review, before we discuss our final thoughts of Mandalorian Season 3, which premieres next week, before wrapping up with an absolutely stacked Nerd News Network with MCU delays, DCU casting replacements, lots of films getting leaked and maybe happening, and even more casting decisions before wrapping it all up with Ra's al Ghul versus Poison Ivy in this week's Superhero Showdown. But before all of that, Horizontal, how's your week been?
My week's been very chill, pretty much. I mean, I went to my girlfriend's at the weekend, spent some time with her, saw her for a few days. Did you just whistle?
Yeah, I think my
hardly
noise
picked
gate
that
didn't
up,
really grab. Yeah, I've got
So-
a pretty aggressive noise
yeah.
gate. I'm surprised it picked up at all.
So that was a nice, fun, chill weekend. Spending time with her, and then back to the world of work, which is pretty quiet at the moment, honestly. Rocket League's, I mean, it's in their regional stage. There's no big. The major's not for another month, at least.
Another month? A month?
Apex's next playoffs LAN isn't till June. I think start of
So
June.
you got a decent bit of time here.
Yeah, there's like some things coming, announcements coming within KCP, like usual esports
I
stuff
just
going on.
whistled again, just for no reason. Having known it won't work.
Nice.
Chaos
But yeah,
episode.
other than that, pretty chill. I mean, some of the stuff going on in the esports space is a bit.
Yeah, it's been a scary week also.
Yeah, it's one of those
it doesn't
where.
seem like it's stopping here either, unfortunately.
Oh no, like, and for those out of that world, I mean, in every industry at the moment, the world's going into a recession. So like everyone's making cuts, everyone's making redundancies.
It seems to be technology is taking that first step in making
Yes.
cuts. And I assume that's been because over the last 10 years, it's been the biggest grower. So it has the most
Yeah,
fat
also
to trim.
tech and like entertainment has a lot of startups, and startups are always the first to go. And in esports, especially, there's teams like fully shutting down, which is scary, but it's one of them. It's as far as I know, KCP is weathering the storm. We'll make it through. But I mean, 2023 is a long year. Where
this
about
early
2
in the
months
year,
in.
It's not what you want to be seeing.
No, but we move. We've got the podcast still, so
we'll be keeping
no
ourselves busy.
redundancies here.
Who are we gonna fire, Hori?
I might fire. You might fire me.
You bring the sex appeal, Hori.
Is that what I do? Okay.
Yeah. I editing that footage last week after your haircut. I was like, wow, Hori looking good.
Okay, well, I'll charge it as an expense to the podcast then. But yeah, I mean, other than that, pretty chill week. So, how's your week been in the world of Connor?
Not too bad. What was it? I had a very chill weekend. We've had like a busy couple of weeks, so me and the partner we will do what needs to be done and not a thing more. So that's what we did. Yeah, it's been pretty chill. The big thing's been obviously COD Ranked has come out, so I've played a lot of COD. And then randomly last night we got thrown into Valorant again because the boys want to play Valorant. And I'm dog shit on both mouse and keyboard and controller, but I'm even worse when I have to switch between them at a moment's notice. But that being said, our last game of Valorant last night was the best game I've ever played, so that was pretty pog.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it's been pretty chill. Work is a lot more manageable now that we've made the changes to the way my work works. There's still obviously issues with project work, as there always is. But it's a lot less stressful. And I mean, it's all good. We've also had pretty busy week for the podcast because we've gone from just doing what we normally do to we're like, okay, we're going to revive the TikTok. We're starting on Instagram, which reminds us, go follow the TikTok and the Instagram or wherever you're listening.
Nice.
And it's been fun because being able to put more effort into this is always a fun thing to do. But not too bad at all. And of course, we had Ant-Man
Yes, we did.
at the
Which I
end of last week.
definitely didn't only see less than 24 hours ago.
No, but it's perfect because it gives me time to collect my thoughts and it's fresh in your mind. It's
This is
all part of the
true.
plan. And as a result of that, I decided this before you saw the film, which is why when I sent you initial notes, I omitted who it was.
Oh, okay.
I'd
makes
already
sense.
written this character profile when I set the initial bit. But yeah, we're doing it on the Council of Kangs.
So we'll say now, if you want 0 spoilers for Ant-Man,
Too late. Yeah.
I mean,
0 spoilers. Stop.
Stop now.
Yeah.
Probably don't even try and watch this episode.
Yeah, there's a lot to go through here, and it's going to be the bulk of the episode.
Or skip to Bad Batch. There'll be the chapters. You can skip around.
Yeah, there'll be the chapters, so you can skip around stuff, and we'll
just
do our
be
best to keep it
warned.
contained.
Yeah, that's your warning. Final warning.
So during this character profile, we're not going to talk too much about the film, although I do have a couple of bits that make more sense to bring up here, but more the origins of them. So in one of the post-credit scene, we did get the Council of Kangs, which it was really funny to see because TikTok kind of instantly went, "Oh, so it's like the Council of Rich from Rick and Morty," but that was inspired by the Council of Kangs and the Council of Reed Richards and stuff. It's just funny.
Well,
anyway, so the Council of Kangs first appeared in Avengers number 267, all the way back in February 1986. So initially, the first or the main real arc that centered around the Council of Kangs was created and it was a group led by Prime Kang.
Okay.
But the group kind of got manipulated by Mortis, a Kang variant, into eliminating all divergent Kangs in the multiverse to ensure that Prime Kang would become a Mortis.
Okay.
Yeah? So divergent doesn't necessarily mean they were good Kangs or bad Kangs, just different. And that's very important here because it's kind of what we saw in Quantumainia with the Kang we were dealing with getting shafted, essentially.
Yeah.
He was just doing things differently, so the council's like, he's got to go. Which is interesting when you consider it that way, and maybe that'll have a bigger role to play. But they're just kind of I don't think in the comics they've been used to their full extent as much as they could have been outside that one main story. They pop up occasionally and they'll have them cool scenes. It's a cool thing to be able to draw this big citadel with Kangs. And obviously in the film we got to see a couple of different Kang variants from the council who we'll go into a little bit later. But it will be very interesting to see how they use the council in the MCU. Are they themselves the big bad? Or are they going to be a stopover shop big bad? And then once they crumble, the prime and most dangerous Kang will arise from the ashes.
Yeah, I think,
and I have a theory about that we will discuss when we're discussing the film. But the Council of the Kangs was a very cool Easter egg to see, very cool post-credit scene, and they're a big part of Kang lore, being a time traveler, universe hopper. Like the idea that all these Kangs are so intelligent that they seek each other out to build this way of communicating is a pretty neat concept. I think it would be a lot more mind-blowing to people if not for shows like Rick and Morty that had already toyed around with that same idea.
Yeah, I get you. It would have been like a kind of a bigger reveal, maybe.
Yeah. Whereas, so many people have seen Rick and Morty. A lot of them episodes are centered around the Citadel of Ricks. So they saw that and like they have a reference point for what that's like. They're like, oh, there'll be internal politics and all that stuff. Whereas if Rick and Morty hadn't done that thing, people might have seen that and gone, whoa, what the fuck is this? There's loads of them. And some people have still had that reaction. Obviously, not everyone who watches Marvel films watches Rick and Morty. But there's enough of a crossover there that people are like, "Oh, okay, I kind of get how this works."
Well, yeah,
I think the internet would have been a much more fun day if no one had seen anything like this before.
possibly.
Anyway, on to Bad Batch
Mm.
episode number 10.
Yes, there was a
Absolute banger
one.
once again.
Yeah, and as we expected, followed straight on from the
Yeah.
last
I was meant
episode.
to Google something and I forgot to.
Oh.
The voice actor for the thief. I'm pretty
For
sure the little thief
Mako
boy.
or whatever he's called. No, some called.
No, not Moko. The kid who actually stole it.
Yeah, Remy or something.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's voiced by Yuri, whatever his name is.
I don't know.
Who did the voice of Spider-Man in
Oh,
the Spider-Man game? Because I really recognise the voice, and I just want to work out if that's right. But for some reason, Google doesn't want to just give me the cast, which is annoying me. Yeah, cool. Whatever episode. Oh my god, leave me alone. Episode 10. Retrieval. Yes. Cast.
Yuri Lowenthal.
I fucking knew I recognised his
Benny.
voice. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that was Spider-Man.
Cool.
That is a big disservice to Yuri. He has done loads of voice acting work, but that's what I recognised his
Oh,
voice
yeah.
from. I was like, holy shit, that sounds like Peter Parker.
Well, that's like anytime I hear Matt Mercer's voice, I'm like, holy shit, it's Matt Mercer of Critical Role. And it's like, well, no, he's done a fuck ton of stuff.
That was pretty like a very, very well respected voice actor.
And as we predicted, there was a lot more to that character than just yoinking a ship. We got to see. Well, it opened with Omega eventually coming up with the idea of how to track the ship, not wanting to give up.
Yeah.
And once again, showing that she's kind of the best parts of all of them.
Once again, she's smarter than tech by going, what if we track, I forget the name of the droid, Gunky? Gungy?
The
Gonk, thank you. Oh, yeah, it's a Gonk droid, for fuck's sake. What if we track Gonk? And he's like, that's ingenious. And it's like, yes, she's smarter than you, she's stronger than you, she's better than you, blah, blah, blah.
It's that thing where Tech is smart enough to do that. It's just Tech is still soldier. But because she has the focus of
I want my home back.
Yeah, and things like that, she's finding ways to achieve her goal, whereas like Tech is just like, well, that's lost, on to the next mission.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, they track it down, realize, oh shit, it's still on the planet, which is what I think we both kind of predicted something might like that happen.
Yeah,
we thought they'd find the ship.
Yeah, and it's really nice that Star Wars aren't doing political stories and they're just having fun adventures with no underlying moral and political comments at all.
Definitely not ever making it political in Star Wars.
What was his name? Moko. Definitely not a caricature of capitalism as a construct. No, not at all.
No. So yeah, they fucking repair some junk ass speeder, which was funny to see them all like holding on for dear life.
How do we make it work?
Yeah. They find this mining town, settlement, whatever you want to call it. It's not even really a town.
Yeah.
After we've seen Benny take the ship back, and it's this whole process of like he works for someone. It's kind of like there's a top earner, and whoever's the top earner gets food, and then everyone else has to share a ration.
Yeah.
And it's like this rundown mining town, and it's quite clear that it's like the guy at the top is being the greedy guy and controlling them through starvation.
Exactly. And you also like you get to see that pretty clearly as well when he's eating like a pig and just eating it all up, hoovering it up, and they're like, it's time, and he's like, they can wait, and it's he might be the quickest I've ever disliked a character. It was like just instant. I looked at him, I was like, oh, I just know you're an asshole.
Well, it's like even when the ship arrived, and it's like he drinks pretty much a whole bottle of water, and then he lets him have like a little bit.
Yeah,
it's like this brainwashing of these young kids into like,
Well, that's the
oh,
thing as well,
he's looking
because they're
after
so
them.
young. If that's what they've grown up with,
Mm.
they are just gonna think that's how the universe works.
But they track down, make their way into the city, um, and find
Find Gonk and
find Gonk and Benny,
yeah.
um, who is reluctant, but then eventually they're like, well, no, you're gonna fucking show us where our ship is.
Wrecker just growls at him. He's like, oh.
Basically, it's that point of like, ah, shit, I fucked up. But probably thought, I'll just let them get to their ship, and then I'm sure they won't get away with the ship, so it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Definitely is playing like a double cross, which I think it was kind of obvious you could see it coming in. He was going to try and double cross them, but
I thought he would admit to the double cross just before when he realised that what's his face had been lying to them.
Yeah.
And then he'd like try and help them escape. I didn't realise that he would realise too late and then have to organise a little rebellion real quick.
Yeah, he had to like flip the switch on everything. But yeah, it was like they found the ship broken. Then it was this realization of, oh, we can't get out, so Omega has to go do it.
When doesn't she?
Yeah, Omega once again being like,
it's interesting though because there seems to be less discussion about sending Omega to do stuff now.
yeah, it's that she's, I think in a couple of like we've seen her prove herself in ways.
Yeah.
And
And it's almost
that,
like, okay, are you sure Omega John's something you need to do? Okay, be safe.
yeah, it's this like there's a bit more trust now that she is able to handle herself.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is then letting them work more as I think has kind of been forced a bit as well with Echo leaving. Like
Yeah.
they have no choice
I
but
think
to
that was
have
the
to.
final nail in the coffin, so
Yeah,
to
it's like
speak.
that's that thing that's pushed it to be like, okay, we have to trust Omega to be able to do this. She can do it. She's one of us in a like.
And also, she came up with the entire idea of how to fucking find the ship in the first place.
Exactly. So I thought it was funny when they're there just hanging out the bottom of the ship trying to repair it, and the guys walk down. They're like, "Hey, who the fuck are you?" And they're like, "What? This is our ship." Like,
it's stupid humor, but I'm really a fan of when they just say a generic name like it's going to mean anything. It's like, oh, I'm Ted. And just
yeah.
like, I don't know why I'm a fan of that kind of stupid comedy. And like, if Wrecker would have just stood there and gone, I'm Ted. And then just be like, oh, okay, cool.
It's that fact that like it just was funny that Hunter noticed that I was like, oh shit, someone's coming. But the other two just not a care in the world. Didn't even try to hide, even though they're meant to be being careful. They were just kind of like hung out of the ship and they're like, oh, there's people here. Oh shit.
Well, hello there.
And then yeah, we get the whole like Omega gets double crossed by Remy, who presses the alert button, but then realizes, oh shit, Omega is actually they are nice people. Nice people exist.
Yeah.
This is what like truth and being kind feels like. Oh shit, shouldn't have double crossed her. Now I feel bad.
And then realizes how much he's been being screwed over the entire time.
Yes.
And oh wait, we're making plenty of money. Everyone should be able to eat.
That thing of like,
because what kind of monster would create a world where only certain people are allowed to eat when there's plenty to go around?
It's almost like certain people make far too much profit, but yet still rack up the energy points. Too real.
Interesting, that, isn't it?
But then we get like a cool little standoff. The moment with when the robot tries to throw Omega off, and she like flips the switch and like ends up buying herself enough time by like
the Hunter to swing there and catch her,
grabbing and then forcing the robot over, buys her enough time, and then Hunter, the swing and the catch was like such a clean, like almost a rehearsed move.
She was very calm and composed, and you can tell she's got that clone trooper DNA.
Yeah, it's getting to that point like we were saying, like they're trusting her more, and she's becoming a more well-oiled and
Yeah,
confident, like,
because she's never
soldier,
really
essentially.
panicked about anything anyway.
No.
She always stayed calm. She just also knows what to do now as well.
Yes.
And if you can stay calm and know what to do, 9 times out of 10 you'll be fine. And like she's just executing.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and then yeah, there's the whole reveal of, oh shit, he's been, which when the the top earner guy who clearly had some deal to always get top earner,
It
like he,
felt like that, but maybe he didn't.
nah,
Maybe he was just really good.
I think he was like the favorite, and he always got it, but at the same time, like he was still being screwed over. Like I think he just had some sort of thing where he was always getting it. But then it's like him being the one to go, hang on a second. Even though I'm top earner, this is all I'm getting, and you're keeping all this. Oh well, fuck you. Let's flip the switch here.
That felt a bit too real as well, didn't it?
um, and then yeah, they get their ship back. They get out, and then Remy.
I was kind of expecting them to invite him with them.
So was I, but then I also do get that idea of like, well, we've got rid of the guy that was being greedy. We're all gonna make a fuck ton of money now off
Yeah.
Ipsum.
We're all going to be able to just live here and be in peace with each
I
other.
think
And
they are going to. He's going to be useful down the line. They
he
made a
made a big
big
point of going, if you ever need a thief, I owe you one. There's a heist at the end of
yes.
this show.
There's like an IOU like ally bringing Remy back,
100%.
definitely.
Um,
But it was
and
a good episode.
I enjoyed that it was a microcosm of the Empire and the Rebellion.
Yes.
I'm not sure how I felt about the fact that they had to like explicitly say that. Like Omega going, well, this is just like the Empire. Like, I get it. You want people to draw that comparison, but normally shows are pretty good at making you think that way without having to say it explicitly.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I did like though that it was kind of her telling Tech, being like, look, we don't have to fight the Empire. Like it kind of Echo was wanting to do. It's like there's this idea of like we can still fight the Empire by helping these smaller issues.
Yeah. We fight all the mini people acting like the Empire. What we're going to leave are the people who would fight the Empire for us.
And I did like that Tech mentioned that there are other people out there doing that already.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes me think about the Rebels and all the different small little like pockets. Rex is obviously doing something. That idea that there's all these insurgents that are what then came together to form the rebellion. But overall, great episode. I liked having it being a follow-on.
Yes.
And I do think we're gonna
instead of just a two-parter or a one and go.
Yeah, I do, and then no big time jump. I do think we're gonna start having a bit more of a. We might have a bit of a time jump again, but I do think we're gonna get a closer storyline of events now in the second half.
Oh, I think that'd be good.
But I think
but
you're
overall,
right.
very solid episode.
Yeah, very solid episode, and definitely going to be some lead up to a heist or something at the end. I think you're right.
Right, are we ready?
We are ready, and I have an opening comment that I'm sure this was the first thing that in my head when I came out of the film.
Go on.
MODOK got done dirty.
In what way? Because I think, depending on what you're about to say, we might be about to disagree.
We don't get to see him again.
Okay, yeah, no, that I want. You knew that was my one of my main concerns, that they just kill him off and waste him.
I came out and I was like,
his characterization during the film, was exactly what I wanted.
Oh, that's why I mean he got done dirty in the sense of he was
nailed
basically
MODOK. Perfect, and then they just fucking threw him away.
Yeah, he just got thrown away, which I'm very much gutted about, and I knew you would be. And but overall, the way I know, I saw some people going, the VFX on MODOK are jank. But then I also saw people going, well, no, it's Uncanny Valley because you haven't seen someone with a fat fucking head and tiny arms and legs. Like, that's just not something your brain can process.
I think it looked fine.
I
One
also,
thing I wish they would have changed slightly, and don't get me wrong, I get why they didn't, was they kept obviously the actor's face proportions the same. Yeah, so it still looked like a face, it just looked bigger.
mm-hmm.
Whereas MODOK, his face kind of is distorted. His mouth and his eyes got a lot bigger, but his nose didn't grow equally.
I get
So,
you.
like, he doesn't look like MODOK in that sense, but it would have looked stupid in a film to have
I think it would
his
have been harder to
face no
do.
longer be in proportion.
It would
Because
have,
instead, they've had to just blow up his head
yeah,
essentially
and
and make that work. But if
they've
they were
done
starting to change the way his face looks, there's more chance for it to look like shit.
exactly. And I do actually think there's a couple of like really close up moments, like when he at the end when he shoves his face through the Kang shield, and we
Yeah.
get a really good close. That looks great. And it's definitely one of those things where, as with all Marvel films, there's certain shots they've spent more time on. But I think overall, MODOK was great. The way he looked, the fact that like we got the arms and legs, and like that was a concern that we both had that like they maybe would change.
Yeah.
But like I pretty much exactly as the theory was, he got crushed down into a weird shape. Kang found him. Kang turned him into. I love the mention of machine only
Mechanized organism designed only for killing.
That was the first mention of him in that
Yeah.
sense, and I was like, okay, they've stuck exactly with what the acronym stands for.
And I like the identity crisis for Darren Cross as well. He's like,
Yes.
no, I'm only answering to MODOK. Yes, they made him a bit cartoonish, but he's a bit of a silly character anyway. So they
Yeah.
just kind of steered into it. This guy's gone crazy down there.
Do you know what we didn't know we needed though?
Go on.
MODOK's ass.
That was a interesting choice.
It was just like it was that thing where they started showing how he became what he was. And I was like, okay, and then they just showed him like being plucked naked. I'm just like, okay, we got that.
It was an interesting decision.
But I overall, I loved what they did with MODOK. I just wish he wasn't gone. Like it just feels like we said in our final predictions, like he makes for a great street level, like that lower level villain. They could have had and the fact that he went through a bit of a redemption arc in a way.
Yeah.
They could
have that play away with them bringing him back fine and thinking, okay, cool, he's not going to be a problem.
And then
then he just grows to resent everything again when he's actually not an Avenger.
Yeah, exactly. Like they set it up perfectly to keep it. But yeah, unfortunately, he got done dirty there by getting.
So I do have a couple of complaints.
Okay. See if they line up with some of my things.
Basically, everything after they leave the quantum realm and before the post-credit scenes, cut it. Don't need it. Bollocks.
Yeah.
I get they're trying to do like the whole full circle thing with it being like it was at the beginning, but everything's a little bit better now because they're closer. I get that. It didn't work. It was shit. It should have been left on the cutting room floor.
So on that, the only thing from that thing that I'm glad they kind of touched on was the idea that Scott was like, wait, did we get rid of Kang?
Okay, cool. I didn't hate that bit, but that kind of aligns up with my next issue. Okay. Scott shouldn't have made it out the fucking quantum realm.
Well, yeah. So this is something that is one of my things is it felt like Scott was meant to die, but then they copped out and didn't kill him.
So there is a rumor that apparently it went under some last minute edits, and initially Hope did dive back into the quantum realm, but it wasn't they reopened the gate and she went back in. It was when she realized Scott wasn't following directly behind them, she went back in
and it shut,
and then they couldn't reopen it.
Yeah, see this.
So then Hope's gone back in there, and then Hope and Scott are trapped there.
See, that's the thing. It's like there's a moment where I thought, okay, Scott dies here because he's like, I don't have to win, you just have to lose, and it's like that is like setting up for a perfect way of like a hero's end. Like saving the
Mhm.
day by just sacrificing himself and whatever. And I was like, okay. But then it's like Hope comes back in. And I'm like, oh shit, Hope's come to save him. Okay, they're now trapped there together.
Yeah.
And Cassie's
They
gonna
get
get
to know
taught by
they get to know that Cassie's safe, Kang's been stopped, and they get to live together in the quantum
and
realm
they'll
that they've
figure
now
out
liberated.
how to get out of it down the line again.
Yeah, they'll be able to come back a bit older and a bit wiser for the next big Avengers film.
That's what I thought was gonna happen. And then no, Cassie just
Yeah.
opens a portal. And I'm like, it's okay, fine. But that also now causes a bigger issue, in my opinion, of is it just easy for them to use the quantum realm now? Can they
Mhm.
just go back and forth at any time point? There's no time issues.
Okay, so here's the thing with that. That I think some people are maybe a bit confused by, and this is just my understanding. Maybe I'm also confused. Time travel through the quantum realm requires kind of falling through the quantum realm, which is why Scott being untethered and falling through the quantum realm resulted in him having that 5-year time jump. Whereas Janet didn't fall through the quantum realm; she landed in the quantum realm and then was stuck there.
Yeah. Okay.
That was my understanding.
Yeah, I could. So okay,
Because
maybe.
you've got like the
Well,
different levels where you're going down.
there's the time vortexes. So I'm guessing then, okay, in that sense, maybe because you've also got to look at the ants fell into the time vortex.
Yes, exactly. So
So
as they're
okay,
falling through, they've gone through the time dilation, whereas the Scott and that didn't.
yeah, and that time he went in and got
Yeah,
stuck there, he was
yeah,
falling
and
through.
that's what
Okay.
Tony's machine did in Endgame. It allowed them to direct themselves through it
Yeah.
so that they
Okay.
could have more control.
It.
That was my understanding of it. Don't get me wrong; it could have been explained a fuck ton better,
Yeah.
and maybe it's just copium from me. But that was my understanding of it.
No, that makes sense. I do think it's just like with the way of how they just suddenly so easily opened a portal. It's kind of like, well, what the fuck? After all
Yeah,
this like struggle with the quantum, Cassie then just opens a portal.
yeah.
Um,
One thing I will say that I absolutely loved after shitting on it a little bit.
well,
Cassie calling Hank granddad.
yes,
I don't know why. I fucking loved that.
yeah, that felt wholesome. And you know,
Yes.
the another thing I loved that also links with Hank is like the moment all the ants rocked up.
I was really hoping he'd have some kind of makeshift Ant-Man suit.
Yes, so this is my thing. It's like love that moment. Such a cool moment having all these fucking robot ants and ant tanks and fucking super fucking ants rock up, and it's Hank like has gathered them. I was like, they missed a trick. He could have been in some like sort of Ant-Man suit.
That they could have made him their version of an Ant-Man suit that could have been a little bit more like a
Quantum S.
comic, yeah, like a comic book accurate version that looks a bit janky because they've put it together for him, and you get that moment of Hank being Ant-Man.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I really wanted going into this film.
And yeah,
Um,
I feel like they
and
missed
they
a
also
slight
should
trick
have
there.
let him die. Like the fact that no one died is outrageous.
Yeah, no one dying and no one getting stuck in the quantum realm
And here was
is.
my logical approach as to why it needed to be Scott or Hank. Janet got saved in the second one,
Mhm.
so it made no sense for her to die or get lost because it doesn't feel like much of a loss for the fans.
Yeah.
Um, Cassie obviously wasn't going to be sacrificed because she's the legacy character,
Mhm.
and that leaves you with Hank, Scott, and Hope.
Yeah.
Again, Hope has only really been a side character, so it would have made sense for them to choose her, but it wouldn't have necessarily been as potent.
Yeah.
But then when you've got Paul Rudd, Michael Douglas, Ant-Man, and Ant-Man Jr., one of them passing can have a huge effect. And when they're starting off with Cassie calling him granddad at the beginning of the film,
Mm.
it seemed right.
Here's what I think's happened. I think they maybe thought about killing Scott, and then they have kind of Marvel has had the mindset of, everyone's expecting us to just kill off all the old characters so that it makes way for the new characters. Maybe we shouldn't play into that. Like everyone's expecting this now. We
Mm,
can't
I
we
get that.
can't kill off everyone. They've changed their mind, but I don't know. Like just the way it was set up at the end is like it felt like they should have. I was like, okay, he hasn't died. Hope saved him. Okay, but they're stuck there now. And then it was like, no, pause open, everyone's fine. It's like, well, okay, I feel like we've just kind of copped out of a death or moment. Like you set it
Yeah.
up, and it would have hit perfectly, and it would have felt like as it should have like played out, and then it feels like you've just kind of gone, psych, we've saved them.
Yeah.
And then
100%.
yeah, the end bit is a bit weird. It's
It
like
felt like kind of pad the runtime.
it felt like they wanted to kind of, like you say, mirror the start, and then also it gave them a reason to add in that whole thing of Scott going, am I? But this kind of leads into an issue I felt with the film. I get Ant-Man is less serious and Scott Lang is less serious and a bit jokey. The tone at times felt very whiplash.
Or what, from really light to very dark very quickly.
Well, it'd be like it'd like ramp up getting serious about some topic, and then it'd be like the whole music would change and everything, and it'd be like some joke from Scott Lang. And it's like, okay, but it happens so often, like sometimes so often close together. It felt like I was getting whiplash going back and forth from it, trying to
I get
be
that.
like because at the end of the day, we're dealing with Kang. This is meant to be like a quite a serious turning point in the MCU, and like tone wise, like oh shit, we're dealing with someone bad, and then it'd be like, oh psych, here's a random jokey comment. Oh no, we're right back to being serious again. It's like, hang on, that was throwing me off a little bit. Like I'm fine with it at like I don't know. There was parts with Modoc it happened, which I don't know. Maybe I'm just
No, I think that's a valid criticism. I didn't mind it per se, but I can see why people would feel that way for sure.
it didn't
Um,
always. I was just certain moments felt
yeah, no,
more so than others.
100%. A consistent tone in a film is quite important, and if it feels like it's jumping about too much, that's an issue. And I mean, everyone will have different tolerances for how much you can do
Yeah,
that. Um, and it's difficult to get it right, but like no one's gonna ever go, oh, you didn't cut tones often enough, but people are gonna go, you've done it too much. So, um, I will say, Jonathan Majors, I mean, to
carried.
quote you, is that fucking guy.
He carried that film in my opinion.
Um, we'll go into the post credit scenes in a bit of detail here, but I'm going to mention obviously the Council of Kangs one.
Hmm.
That might be the first ever time I have watched a scene with the same actor playing three different characters and not been very aware that it's the same actor, because he really
Oh
did give three different performances for them characters.
yeah, each of those like I'm gonna call them tier one Kangs
Mm.
because they seem to be like the head
Yeah,
Kangs.
you've got Ramatut, who I
Yeah,
mentioned in the Kang profile. I forget what one of the other ones was called. I think one of them was a Mortis.
yeah. Immortus, I
So
think,
yeah,
is the purple
they're,
one.
they're,
The one with
they're
the
more
glowy
famous Kang
lines,
variants.
from what I've seen online, is might be Prime Kang, but it could also be a Kang they've made up because he doesn't match what Prime
Yeah,
Kang looks like.
but
Um,
very very cool
but
character
also on
designs.
that, when we got the scene of all the Kangs coming in, and there was like the fact that he has done each of those takes, obviously, and like he is able to make that many different Kangs in a way. Like there were very small, minute moments, but like he still was able to give us a multitude of like styles or personalities in a few seconds. I
Yeah.
have to say, I've seen the comparison online, but like there's a panel from a comic book of the Council of Kangs
Hmm.
and from the stand, and it actually matches up almost perfectly with what we saw with like the placement of we got an alien looking Kang
Yeah,
and like a
they had some fun with that for sure.
um obviously that people have already started trying to be like there was a red one out in the sand level area that
Hmm.
people are thinking is is it Scarlet Kang or
Hmm.
there's one that's in a suit that people are thinking is Kang Industries CEO,
Yeah.
who people are now wondering, is that who bought Stark Tower?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
There's some shenanigans going on for sure.
yeah. Now, I have a theory. I don't
Go on.
think Kang the Conqueror is dead.
Okay, so is this you didn't think he was dead and then you've seen the prevailing theory online? Or have you not got further than you don't think he's actually dead?
I haven't looked what the theory is online. My
Cool.
thought was just the thing that he got sucked into is what Scott went into, and it's what was it called, a vortex or something, time
Yeah.
vortex or whatever. I'm was just like, I don't think he's dead. I think he's trapped in there. Whether like we ever see him again, I don't know. Maybe he's permanently trapped. Like that is him done. But I don't think he
No.
died.
There are rumors circulating that in Secret War, Jonathan Majors will also be playing the character of the Beyonder.
Okay.
So the Beyonder is mega powerful being
Mm-hmm.
and is not a Kang variant in the
Oh.
comics. So there'd be
Okay.
no reason for Jonathan Majors to play him. Unless they found a way to give a Kang them powers. Like being sucked into a mega powerful battery that gives you the ability to travel through space and time.
Okay.
So people are wondering if that Kang is going to come out of that as the Beyonder.
Possibly.
Which is
I just
something I can see happening.
I just wondered if he was to come back, he's just like he comes back as a stronger Kang the Conqueror.
No, I think if that Kang is still alive, the Beyonder theory is probably the most credible.
Okay.
Especially with the rumors that Jonathan Majors is set up to play the Beyonder anyway. That just kind of tracks the best.
I
But it could
just
be one of them things where the internet tries to shoehorn two bits of information into each other.
I think mine is just like it's like we've seen now that people getting sucked down in the quantum realm is just them getting smaller. So there's always a possibility they come back.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that this Kang was clearly banished and for whatever they felt was a more dangerous Kang kind of maybe gives more credit to like him coming back as being like their big bad. Like
Maybe.
Kang, I think the Council of Kangs is gonna be Kang Dynasty. That's what that film is, them being the big bad, the collective.
Maybe.
And then whether we get this Kang the Conqueror turns into the Beyonder or there is a more powerful Kang is the end game Kang that they're gonna fight.
It's there's a lot to unravel. Overall, I enjoyed it. Obviously, we got a Loki season 2 teaser as the second post credit scene.
Yes, with another Kang
Um,
variant.
so I wonder if that's going to be kind of a Kang of the Week style series where they're hunting down a different Kang every week.
I get the sense it's less them hunting down Kangs, but more trying to learn more about the Kangs.
Oh, maybe.
So they're like going through history, finding them to kind of get an understanding of the level of good Kang versus ultra bad Kang and everything in between.
Yeah. What is the spectrum of like how bad is this guy on his good day versus his worst day?
Yeah, like what are we going to be dealing with here?
It would be interesting to me if they infiltrate the Council of Kangs.
Mm,
That could
like
be a really fun way to show off different Kang variants and give
I
us a bit of tease of what might be to come.
I do think it's going to be a way for them to kind of have a bit of fun with Kang variants. There's obviously going to be something about because remember he returns to a TVA that now has a Kang statue, so there is a Kang
Mm-hmm.
variant here is going to deal with there. So him and Morbius, I think this is like a bit of a secret mission away from TVA
Yeah.
that they're doing. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's teaser for Loki season 2. I loved that we got the whole Kang will return.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else went down.
So one thing I didn't realize during the film, but was spoken about a lot online, was Cassie said "dad" a lot.
Hmm,
Someone clocked it. She, on average, throughout the entire film, says "dad" every 3 minutes.
interesting.
Bearing in mind she's not in every scene of the film as well.
Yeah,
So that's the full runtime of the film divided by how many times she says "dad" is something like 3 minutes.
that's a that's a lot.
But I mean, some people said they felt like she was saying it a lot while watching the film. I didn't notice it during the film.
I wouldn't say I came out and was like, "Gosh, she kept going on about dad."
Yeah. So I don't
See,
know. I've got that seems like a nitpicky thing that people have done.
maybe. Do you know what I think? If that was the case, and like me and you didn't notice that, but it was like more so them trying to show this like strength of this. Like, there's this real strong bond between her and like
Yeah.
Scott and Cassie. Again, leans me to be like, it feels like they were supposed to kill him off
Mm-hmm.
because then we would have felt it more, so much more for Cassie.
Yeah, it does feel like some edits changed bits of this film pretty drastically. Um, Overall, I'm giving it like a 6, 7 out of 10. It
Yeah,
didn't do
I'd give it
anything
like a 7.
horrifically. It didn't do anything brilliantly. It was a comic book film. It was fun.
Yeah, I saw one thing which was someone was like, "Oh, this is Kang should never have been the enemy. It should have just been a Modok being the bad guy." But then I'm like, at the end of the day, this was never meant to be a Ant-Man and his baddie. It was like, this is meant to be setting up who the fuck we're dealing with now. And I
Yeah,
think it did do that perfectly. Like, we now have a much better understanding of how strong Kang is. And he's not even like the number one top Kang. This idea that there is a fuck ton of Kangs. And we also now have a much better understanding of the Quantum Realm, which overall, by the way, Quantum Realm looked sick.
yeah.
I
People complaining about the visuals for this film are weird, in my opinion. I
I
think it looked phenomenal.
the weirdest take I've seen on Twitter was someone going, "These are filmed in the same technique on the volume, and it's the Batman rooftop scene, um, from the Batman Matt Reeves one, and then it's
Okay,
them three, Cassie, Hope, and Ant Man when they're stood together as the three on the bridge, and it's like, okay, yeah, one
but
is
they're
a
also
roof.
trying to do completely different
Well,
things.
the best thing was, it's like someone was trying to compare them, and I was like, it's such a dumb take because it's one is a rooftop, which is we have thousands of like hundreds of thousands of hours of like reference. You can go and reference that. The quantum realm doesn't fucking exist to reference.
Yeah,
Like, what do you want? Like, we don't know what the lighting's like in the quantum realm. We don't know what the like people like not just accepting that the quantum realm is this like fantasy, like wild and wacky world of just makeshift shit. I thought the amount of variety in like character designs that they came up with was amazing. I loved the way like they had all the different like everything was much more organic. Like the ships and everything. I'm sorry, but we need to make that goo drink IRL. Like, imagine you could drink a goo drink and like just everyone can understand each other.
yeah. I mean, I get that the world changes, and I get nothing is always popular. Everyone turns on stuff eventually, just like I mean I've done with the Fast and Furious franchise, for instance.
Yeah.
But I feel like the stuff people are pulling up Marvel films on now is stuff they didn't give a fuck about
Hmm.
originally, and it's just the MCU's got to a point where it's cool to hate it. Kind of like we saw with Fortnite, as stupid as it sounds. Everyone loved Fortnite, everyone played Fortnite.
Well, it's
No
just
one
that's
no one said Fortnite was cringe.
that is
And then
internet
just all
culture
of a sudden
nowadays.
overnight everyone was like, nah, just to playing Fortnite, that's for babies. It's like, bro, you were playing it with me last week.
Oh yeah, it's just that's just internet culture. Unfortunately, it's like for the majority, it's just a loud minority who will hate on things because oh, it's cooler to hate on it now because it's the different opinion,
Yeah.
and then it'll get to a point again where it's like, oh, no, Marvel films are sick. We love Marvel. Um,
And it is always nostalgia fueled as well.
yes, I will say with the Quantum Realm, that quite clearly felt like okay. here is an ally setup that is going to be used down the line. 100%. We're going to get like they are called on, and we're going to see some of those Quantum Realm characters back again. The goo boy who got holes.
Now, we have one very important matter about the film to discuss.
Oh, okay.
Did Kang clap Janet's cheeks?
No, Kang didn't. Do you know
No,
who
you
did?
don't think so?
Your
Okay, no, but you're forgetting something very important. She didn't meet him until after Kang had already landed. And they worked on that ship alone together for a long time. And a woman has needs.
I think no, because
I think you're in the minority if you think they didn't.
I don't think her and Kang did. I think she did with what do you call
Bill Murray's character.
Yeah, Bill Murray.
Because
he is more eccentric, a bit like Hank.
I think before she knew Kang was a giant piece of shit, her and Kang got a bit busy.
Maybe.
Bit of
I was more of the opinion she did it with Bill Murray's.
Oh no, she did, but I think before she met Bill Murray's character, there was still a, pardon the pun, hole to be filled, and she hadn't met him yet.
I think she has also had a weird quantum alien experience.
Referee.
We saw those things that Hank put his hands in to fly the ship. There's plenty, I'm sure, other appendages.
Okay, we're this guy. Yeah, this is going in a techie direction. But yeah, Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah, let's move it on.
So next Wednesday,
yes,
March 1st, Mandalorian season 3 premieres. I will be spending this weekend binge watching Book of Boba Fett so that I'm up to date, ready for Mando.
Yes, good idea. Have you seen the latest trailer with the scene of Grogu on a chair?
Oh, what way is using the Force to spin the chair?
Yeah, I saw it and I was just like,
Grogu is just vibes.
Like, I'm sorry, but whoever, like, purely from whoever came up with Grogu and was like, we're gonna have this like baby Yoda, he's cute, he's gonna do cute things. Marketing genius for the whole show, for making Star Wars. Like, whoever that idea was has made Marvel fucking millions. Because how can you not love Grogu?
You mean Disney?
Disney. You know what I mean. It's all one conglomerate now.
It's all just one company.
Yeah. It's all just one
to keep
money.
Walt Disney's bodies frozen.
Yeah, it's just one money printing factory. But yeah, the Grogu spin in the chair. I'm looking forward to Mando.
I'm just excited to see Mandalore.
Yeah, I'm so hyped to see Mandalore and the fact we're gonna get a fuck ton of Mandalorians.
I think the main things I want are, I assume we're gonna get something to set up Ahsoka.
Yes.
I hope we get reference to some Mandalorians who are still Maul diehards, even though Maul's dead now. Just because it'd be cool. Because I feel like there are a lot of Star Wars fans who only watch live action.
Yeah.
And they kind of, as far as they're concerned, Maul died in episode 1.
Well, also, it's like, they've already shown they're gonna have a lot of Mandalores, and the theory is that he's called on all the clans. There's a chance that there is still a clan that follows what Maul was, and the fact that Maul had, like, the Darksaber thing is a thing that they would respect.
Exactly.
I do think we're gonna get like a bunch of Mandalorian clans.
Even if it's just like a little Easter egg to the fact that Maul was here. Maybe that's what it needs to be, just in graffiti on one of the walls, Maul was here.
What also, there'll be little references to some clans I think we'll have heard mentioned before. I do think there's going to be a bit of a clash between, um, obviously the cult ones
Yeah,
and the other Mandalorians. I'm trying to think what else might go down. I do think we're going to get. So you saying it's going to set up Ahsoka. You've got to remember Ahsoka's set earlier, the TV show.
mm.
But there could be some tie-in to characters that Ahsoka might rock up again, should I say?
Yeah.
Um,
I've just got a feeling it's going to be connected in a way.
I'm trying to think what else might go down. We're obviously going to see Grogu develop more with the Force and get better
Yes.
with it again. And this idea that he's going to slowly unlock the powers he'd started to learn. So I think he's going to kind of re-unlock some abilities.
Yeah.
Do you know what I hope? I hope we get Grogu to have a lightsaber at the end.
It'd be very cool. Have you seen there's a theory about Grogu as well, though?
What's that?
So we know he's about 50,
Yeah,
which would be about the same age as Anakin.
yeah.
So people wonder if Anakin, who obviously would eventually fall to the dark side, Grogu being as pure and as sweet as he is, was created by the Force to keep things in balance.
Okay.
And Grogu just exists and manages to survive these stupid situations because he's keeping the Force in balance.
Possibly.
And that's why he's just vibed, because he's the light side.
Yeah, I mean, it's not wild. It's not the wildest theory we've ever had from Star Wars. I'm not against it. I do think we're going to see how he escaped Order 66. And I don't think it was because I don't think Anakin ever came to him. Because if Anakin had found him at that age, Grogu wouldn't exist. So somehow we're going to see how he escaped. I'm trying to think what else might go down. I do think it's going to end with Mando being some sort of Mandalorian leader.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I wonder if it'll end with him basically going to start to rebuild Mandalore.
It would be cool. I hope we get some flashbacks to Mandalore before it all went to shit.
I think we might. I think we're going to get some flashbacks to his past and some of the cult past and some of the other Mandalorians, like some of the things that went on, especially around the dark saber. I think that's going to cause a lot of like this back then was an issue. Like Maul had it, or like blah blah blah. Like it's gonna be good, and we're gonna be in good for Star Wars because we're gonna have this and Bad Batch. I'm trying to think of anything else that we might get in this. I don't. I can't. I can't think of anything. God, have I lost you?
I'm just trying to piece together what you said. My brain's had a bit of a control alt delete moment there.
Just trying to figure out if there's anything else from Mando that might happen, but I can't.
I think it's going to set up the final stage of Dave Filoni finishing off this period of time.
Yeah.
Because like we've got a lot of stuff coming, like Skeleton Crew and that, which is Outer Rim, I believe, around the same time.
Yeah, it's that gap between.
So I
That's
wonder if they're going to use this to kind of launch what is the universe post Empire. Like, just like instead of it just following the like so far the shows in this period of time have followed individuals.
hmm.
I wonder if they're going to use this to try and launch a bigger understanding of how the universe is working.
Yeah. Well, this is like that period between episode 6 and episode 7.
Yeah. Which
So
is a
it's,
decent period of time.
yeah, but there's like a good chunk of time there for them. They could set up some, like you say, some more shows that will help bridge that gap. I think that's Dave's next thing. He's quite well. He's done a very good job of bridging the gap between episode 3 and episode 4 and fixing some issues from the prequels.
Yeah.
I do wonder if he's now going to tackle fixing the issues with the Disney trilogy as best he can and bridging some of the gaps there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think it's going to be. And I mean, maybe after Mando season 3, we're going to get a time jump for Mando season 4 if there is one, and you get to see the beginning of the what they were called, the New Order, weren't they? First Order, sorry.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll start to see like the beginning of that, because the First
Yeah.
Order coming out of nowhere is not really explained in the films, so that's something they can definitely play around with.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Should we get on to the nerdy news of the week?
I think we shall.
So it was a pretty busy week.
Yeah, it was actually for news.
So it started off on Friday as I was going to see Ant-Man with the Marvels poster got announced, released. Very cool poster. It was nice
Very
to not
cool.
just get a big heads poster for once.
Yeah, a bit more thought put into it.
And I didn't realize until after I got out of the film, but it also was used to announce a delay to the film being released.
Smart move.
Yeah, it was set to come out in July. It's now coming out in November.
Which
is a decent sized delay.
It is, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not crazy.
Yeah, and it also takes it out of a very competitive July and June and puts it into a November that while there are a lot of big films coming out, it can dominate more.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that's part. So they might have needed a delay anyway, but they might have decided on November as the landing spot because of what it would be competing with.
Yeah, I imagine maybe it needed a bit of a delay, but they were like, you know what, let's just push it back to here.
Yeah.
One at better
it can
time.
be ready by mid-September or early October. Let's delay it a little bit longer because it's an easier window and it can make sure we're definitely done.
Yeah.
Or it's not supposed to be ready till January and they've gone, we'll give you a bit more time, make it work. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe the VFX studio is getting pushed.
And then we got a really rogue rumor. And
which
it seems to be that a lot of people plugged in have heard this rumor from sources.
I feel like
but none of them seem that confident in it.
Well, I feel like this is a rumor that has popped up in the past, but then kind of got shut down. And then it's weird that it's popping up again.
Yeah. So there's apparently heavy rumors circulating that Grant Gustin could be replacing Ezra Miller in the DCU. Here's the issue. A, they've missed the boat on using Grant Gustin in films. The man has been the Flash for 10 years now. It just doesn't really work when you're trying to reboot. Because what you're going to end up having is you're going to end up having a Flash actor who's older than the Superman actor, which just seems wrong.
Unless they pull him from a different... You've also got to remember, we haven't had men... Like, from the DCU slate, there's no place for Flash in that.
That is also very true.
So it's like, is this more rumor on the fact of like, we're going to get a Flash further down the line and him being old and maybe a work and they can bring him in from another, I don't know. But I feel like they've missed the boat.
You ready for my hot prediction / take / guess?
Here we go.
There has been a miscommunication with this rumor.
Okay.
Grant Gustin is not replacing Ezra Miller. He's got a massive cameo in the Flash film. And
possibly
someone who shouldn't have access to that information has seen that
and thinks it's him replacing it.
Misconstrued it and said that, given that information out, and that's why people aren't confident in it.
Do you know what I also think this rumor might have come from?
Well,
Someone has asked, because obviously the Flash TV show is coming to an end, isn't it?
this is
So,
the last season going on currently, I believe.
what if this has just come from someone asked James Gunn about the Flash, and he just made some offhand comment of like, like we don't have a Flash plan, but I've loved seeing what CW did with the
Yeah.
Flash, and Grant. It probably just made some comment being like, Grant Gustin played a great Flash in the Flash TV show.
I don't think there's a lot of weight to these rumors at all, but it just seems to be a lot of big sources were mentioning it, but none of them seem that confident about it, which is really interesting. They're all hearing the same stuff, but no one seems that confident with the information.
I also find it hard to I could be wrong, but I find it hard to believe that Grant Gustin would want to finish doing the Flash TV show, which has been a big part of his career, to then actually, psych, I'm going to jump straight back into another Flash role for like multi-year. Like, I feel like he's gonna
Want to do something else?
yeah, like
Yeah.
I
A TV actor doing the same role for 10 years makes it pretty difficult to get work anyway. Why would you double down by doing a film as that character and then just never being able to work again? The only way I can see him being Barry Allen in the DCU is if they want to do a Wally West Flash and they
okay,
just want Barry to be there for the first film.
yeah, like a bit older
In which
maybe.
case that can work. But at the same point, then, unless they're going to bring the Wally from the Flash TV show, you kind of go, well, why bring him Grant Gustin in?
I think they've missed their trick of, like we've said before, they should have always tied in the TV show to the films, and that was a missed trick. And I feel like this rumor's come from someone being like, "Oh, we've got DCU now. Maybe we can finally tie in."
Exactly.
And it's
Someone's heard, oh, all of our films and TV shows and games are going to be in the same universe, and they've gone, oh, so Grant Gustin's the Flash.
Yeah.
Anyway, big news from Marvel.
Yes.
Tom Holland has signed his contract for Spider-Man 4 and beyond, although it doesn't say how many films it is because they don't release that information anymore because people are using it to predict who was dying very accurately. But also on top of that, he is rumored to be the lead character of Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, which is fucking huge. And I'm telling you now, if he's going to be the main character of Secret Wars, we are not getting the symbiote in the college trilogy. Unless, oh well, maybe in Spider-Man 5 if that happens after Secret Wars. But we won't be getting the symbiote in film number 4.
It's going to come later.
Secret Wars is the perfect way to bring in the symbiote, like the way it was done in the comic. And then you can have Spider-Man 5 be the first film after Secret War, like Far From Home was the first film after Endgame. Was Far From Home the first film after Endgame? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And then he's got this new suit.
I think, I don't think we'll get symbiote anytime. Obviously, we're going to remember that little bit got left in it from Venom. So, like, it's knocking about, but it doesn't make sense for it to, like, instantly find him.
No, not at all.
So I do think you're right. Like, we'll get that later. But very big to have him being in a big part in Kang Dynasty and Secret War. I think that's going to be also leads with the idea of, because we're obviously going to have more Shang-Chi. Way of the Spider.
I'm so desperate for it.
I think if he's going to be playing a big part, Shang-Chi's definitely going to be playing a big part. Like, there's got to be some.
It would be very cool to see Spider-Man upping himself. He'll be a bit more experienced, having been like a hero without anyone to rely on for a little while. I'm here for it.
In before college era, now he's like, oh, I'm going to go to a night class and learn some martial arts, and it happens to be Shang-Chi teaching it, and then they both realize that they're...
I'm so down for whatever.
Starts having one-on-ones, Spider-Man.
And then, I mean, even more just big film news. So apparently Doctor Strange 3, which we were hearing rumors might get boosted up the schedule, has apparently been added to the production schedule now.
Yeah. So
But yeah, we've been hearing rumors for a little while that they might bump Doctor Strange 3 up. It looks like that may have happened. Maybe
it
not.
seems like it's happened. Yeah.
Venom 3 has been confirmed to have entered pre-production by Tom Hardy. As far as I know, pre-production is just like
Writing.
we're working on it.
Yeah.
Like
It's like finishing writing and prepping like stage stuff and all that, like early
working out what actors we might need to cast for new roles and stuff.
Set design and all that shit.
And Eternals 2 has apparently been added to the production schedule. Which I think is a bit more of a surprise. I think we were pretty confident that that wouldn't be for a little while after some mixed reviews to the first one, but maybe not.
I think something they've obviously their original plan. They've been doing some shifting around of storyline plan and what ties into what. I think they've obviously they've gone. We kind of need Eternals 2 for a certain storyline.
Yeah,
thing to happen.
I would agree.
Same reason why they brought Doctor Strange 3 forward. There's obviously some storyline reason for it.
I don't know why I've got a feeling Guardians 3 might kind of play into Eternals 2. There are any real like spacey characters cutting about.
Eternals 2 is clearly going to play into like Celestials. So yeah, whether also into Doctor Strange 3, maybe?
Maybe. I expect Doctor Strange 3 will be to set up Secret Wars because of incursions.
Yeah. Venom 3 though, question. Do you think after we had the whole little fun crossover into the Spider-Man film, do you think Sony is going to be more is this now Venom is canon?
Venom is going
it's a
to
multiverse,
be
but it's
Venom is going to be an okay film like Venom 1 and Venom 2 were, because of Tom Hardy and Andy Serkis. If not for them, it would be a giant piece of crap, just like Morbius and just like Kraven the Hunter is going to be.
Well, do you think they will lean into it being slightly tied into the MCU now as well?
No, I think they're going to try and force Morbius into it because of what they tried to do with Morbius and the Vulture at the end of the Morbius film.
That's a good point. Forgot about that. Kind of erased that from my memory.
Yeah. But even bigger news from the MCU, which broke literally as we were about to start recording, and I'm very excited about. Stephen Yeun.
Yes.
Is joining the MCU. He'll be making his debut in the Thunderbolts. It will be a significant role, and he's going to be integral to the future of the MCU.
Which is interesting.
We were racking our brains at the beginning here, and I have one character that instantly comes to mind. In Amadeus Cho.
Yes. Which is a
other than that
Hulk character.
Yes. A Korean American Hulk character, which Stephen Yeun is as well, I believe. But other than that, I don't know who it could be.
Well,
but he's a phenomenal actor.
Was Nightcrawler?
Oh yeah, that was something I said. I think he could do a really cool Nightcrawler. But I don't know if that's what it would be.
We've got to remember, Thunderbolts is going to be. It's the mismatch of like, what's he called? The agent or American agent guy.
Yeah, US agent.
US agent. There's apparently going to be, Black Widow's sister.
Yeah, Yelena. Bucky, Red Guardian.
The Mr. Thunderbolt, Red Hulk, potentially.
Red Hulk, yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Sorry, he's got to be Amadeus Cho.
So yeah, it potentially is.
If we're getting Thunderbolt Ross, Amadeus Cho's got to be involved, surely. get the whole Hulk fam in. We're bringing the X-Men in. Spider-Man's going to be dominating through Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Marvel are shifting over to the original Golden Trilogy of Wolverine, Hulk, and Spider-Man.
Possibly then, yeah. I think also Nightcrawler would work as a way to introduce, like I was saying when we were talking about it earlier, is it works as a way to introduce mutants properly.
Yeah.
Or like a recognized name mutant.
Yeah, he's recognized enough that people be like, okay, cool, X-Men.
Yeah.
But he's not so big having to be like, oh well, he should have just got his own film. Like a Cyclops or a Wolverine would be expected to get. What I will say is Stephen was very popular on The Walking Dead, although I never watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And he is phenomenal in Invincible. Granted, that's just voice acting, but still acting.
Still.
So I like this. He's a well-respected actor. If they've trusted him with a significant and integral role to the future of the MCU, I'm fucking here for it.
Yeah, I think your theory with Hulk fam side, the fact we're gonna get Red Hulk.
Bit of Amadeus Cho, who's a very popular character, could be exactly what we need. Especially because it looks like that deal for Marvel to get the exclusive rights of Hulk back hasn't happened. Maybe this is the way they're going instead.
Maybe.
Also, one other thing that I forgot to add on.
Oh.
Aquaman had
pre-screenings.
And apparently they flopped very hard and people walked out.
People walked out.
So rare.
Of a
I didn't realize. Yeah.
Viewing.
Apparently, it's almost unheard of for people to walk out of test screenings because sometimes they're paid to be there because that's like give their opinion. Sometimes it's free. But it's never going to cost the person money to go see it. And you get and a lot of the reason people like doing it is because I get to see something no one else has seen yet. Ooh.
Well, it's also
they were like, this is so dog shit. I just want my time back.
The whole premise is like you're going to essentially review it for them so they can get a feel. Like for you to walk out halfway through shows that like. But this isn't the first time. Like it's had a fuck ton of test screenings and none of them have really done great. From what we've heard, it's like people have been saying like, yeah, this has been going on for a while and everyone's been like boring, or people have said it's worse than the first one, or it's like I stand by what we said episodes ago on the podcast of when they announced that Flashpoint was happening and then the DCU, this film means fuck all anymore and it's gonna pay the price. It's whatever they do, it's not gonna feel worth it. It's got the whole drama around certain people in the film that we don't need to get into. It's just, I think, unfortunately, the best thing that's going to come from this is maybe because it's going to flop and it's not going to be used, it opens Jason Momoa up to do Lobo.
Yeah.
I think that's the only positive.
Yeah, I completely concur.
I don't think they're going to care if it flops, to be honest. Not massively.
And that wraps up a very busy Nerd News Network segment. It's been kind of quiet the last few weeks, and then just everything got thrown in our faces.
Yes.
Just all up in the face. Superhero Showdown.
Yes.
Ra's al Ghul versus Poison Ivy in the first DC Villains semi-final.
Yes.
Poison Ivy is supposed to have an advantage.
She is.
There is no advantage. Because how the fuck can there be? Unless we go for the it's in a forest-like environment. But even then, I don't know if it's enough because Ra's is a fucking tank who refuses to die.
Yeah. I somehow don't even think that would.
The demon's head does not get beaten by Plant Lady.
I think
I know she's a very dangerous Plant Lady.
I think for the sake of it, we say, sure, her advantage is she has natural environment that she can.
You are fighting in a fucking jungle.
He's still gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, the man invented most of modern martial arts. The man has been in and out of the Lazarus pit so many times that he doesn't even know if death is real at this point.
He can probably, to be honest, he's gonna punch a fucking tree into pieces.
Yeah. Batman isn't worried about Poison Ivy. He's worried about the people she's gonna hurt.
Yes.
He's worried when Raish is up to shit because, like,
it's not an easy person to deal with.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also his father-in-law, kind of, and his grandson's grandfather, and Raish is a serious fucking dude. Which is why, for the most part, as long as he leaves Gotham alone, Bruce doesn't fuck with him. Because he's like, okay, as long as you're not fucking with Gotham, I'm just gonna leave you alone because it's a long day. Or I feel like if Poison Ivy started attacking other cities, he'd be like, sorry, she's one of mine, I'll come deal with her.
Sorry, someone let the cat.
Yeah. And I just think that Raish fucks her up.
Yeah, I have to agree. I don't think any plant is gonna
Because
like.
I'm pretty sure as part of his Lazarus Pit treatments, he's immune to most toxins.
Yeah, there's
But,
also that. Like her toxins aren't gonna work on him.
Yeah, which is a big way she can like get people under control or get the upper hand on people. I just think they're like the way Raish is built. She's like one of them people who has an even worse chance because her normal go-tos are just like weak as fuck against him.
I think all she will
It's like
do.
the wrong Pokemon type.
Yeah, all that's gonna happen is she will slow. The end is inevitable. She's just gonna slightly delay him getting to her.
Exactly.
Just purely by throwing plants at him, essentially, and he's just gonna chop his way through him, beat his way through him, and keep moving forward till he's at her and beat the shit out of her. And
Exactly.
at the end of the day, like, she will do everything she can, but he's just gonna power through it, and
yeah, he's not gonna give a single solitary fuck.
Especially because we have to remember they are bloodlusted, and it's like his whole focus is going to be get to her, beat her, and yeah, a few plants ain't gonna stop him.
Yeah, and he's a combat master. It's not just like she's mastered her powers. Sure, he is a combat master.
Yeah,
like there's a big difference. And I think it just doesn't go well for her. Try as she might, it is not going to go the way she wants it to go.
No.
So I think Roz will be continuing on to our villain final.
Yes.
And Poison Ivy will be leaving us here. It was a good run for the girl, but she is done for. And that wraps up the Superhero Showdown.
Yeah, we're getting close.
Yeah, we've got one more semi-final, and then we're on to the final for each of the 4 groups.
Yes, which will then give us a final for Marvel, then final for. So yeah, we're still a few weeks, but we're getting close to the end of the bracket. It's been a big bracket.
It has indeed been a very big bracket.
But we've got Mandalorian, we've got Bad Batch, Star Wars Heavy Week. It isn't that far off Secret Invasion now.
No, it's not. It's really not.
We haven't got a set date for it yet, though.
Do we not?
I don't think so. I think it's still just March. Was it not March? Is it later?
No, it does just say 2023.
I don't think they've given us a set date for it yet.
No, we know it's going to be March, based on what we were told at Comic-Con last year.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. One day ago, looks like it might be being pushed to May 10th or 17th. But that's not been confirmed. The last official thing we heard was March 23.
Okay.
But they might be pushing it because of Mando.
Maybe. We'll see. No, but that's not stopped them having overlap of Star Wars and Marvel.
No, it hasn't, but they're 2 very big shows.
But yeah, Secret Invasion not far off, so.
Yeah, we're starting to get into a very thick portion of the year. From March through to July is busy.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff coming out. And it's going to be great. But thank you very much for watching as always.
Yes.
Make sure you are liked over here. Make sure you're subscribed. Leave us a little comment
Hit the
about
bell.
what you thought of Ant-Man. Let us know. Was it
Yes.
a 1 out of 10 for you? Was it a 10 out of 10 for you?
Did you think Ant-Man should have died?
Exactly. Make sure you're following us on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. We are pumping out content at a rate unknown to anyone else. And we're only going to be able to improve that content if we're getting eyes on it. So we need to know if you like what we're doing. Thank you very much, and we will catch you next week.
Yes, we'll see you next week.